The number crunching continues at Akron City Hall. Thanks for clicking on the AkronNewsNow.com update. I'm Lindsay McCoy, bringing you a look at the latest local news. Akron City officials are detailing again how much the city will save next year with the layoff of 40 police officers this week. But Finance Director Diane Miller-Dawson revised another set of numbers based on an inquiry by AkronNewsNow.com. The city last week said the concession package turned down by the police union would have cost each officer about $450, but AkronNewsNow.com's calculations show it being closer to $1,500. Miller-Dawson now says it would have been about $689 this year for each officer. Many of the 40 officers laid off will be owed for compensation time, and in many cases the maximum. Miller-Dawson says they'll receive that payment as a part of their termination pay in 2 to 3 weeks. Well, how do other local communities deal with operating budget shortfalls, and how do they go about asking for concessions from their safety forces and other employee unions when tax revenues decline? This week on AkronNewsNow.com, we've been examining how these cities are equipped to deal with a financial shortfall similar to what the city of Akron is facing now. Talmadge Mayor Dave Klein says the city has an operating and capital budget, and as most cities do, but there's one difference.
We also have a policy set forth that's legislatively done that we have to maintain at least 25% of the operating budget in a fund set aside strictly for emergencies, and then I'd have to go back to council to get authorization to utilize that fund.
Klein says Talmadge had to borrow from the rainy day fund 2 years ago when it faced red ink in its operating budget, but since it has replaced all of the money. To read more about this story, go on to AkronNewsNow.com. On a more positive note, all of the residents of a building that caught fire Tuesday made it out alive thanks to the work of Akron's fire department and help from a good Samaritan. Up in flames when firefighters arrived to the corner of Jefferson Avenue and Exchange Street. Heavy smoke was billowing from the second-story window of this mixed-use building.
Apparently there was a woman smoking in bed, and it caught her mattress on fire and the floor and materials around the bed. Didn't talk with her directly, but I would imagine she drifted off. She had some smoke inhalation, and she was taken by one of our med units to the hospital.
The building, which occupies retail businesses and apartments, caught fire early Tuesday morning. Captain Scott says everyone inside got out safely, especially thanks to the woman's rescuer, who was doing yard work in the neighborhood at the time.
I want anybody to do the same for my mom, so why wouldn't I do the same for a neighbor?
Fire investigators say they checked to the buildings on either side to make sure the fire had not spread. After they check it again thoroughly, residents should be able to return. Lindsay McCoy, AkronNewsNow.com. And down in Massillon, a student at Washington High School is taken into custody after school officials say he had a gun in his possession. Canton Repository reports the gun was not fired. Parents of the students in the district were notified through the school's automation phone system. So far, no word on disciplinary actions against the student. And more students are spending more time on Kent State University's 8 campuses this semester. It's a new record in the university's 100-year history. Enrollment is up 7.5% from last year. And the paper reports that more than 41,000 students are taking classes during the current fall semester. And as the official beginning of fall is just around the corner, it's still not too late to try out the highest-ranked park across the country. Beating out Disney World and Universal Studios, Amusement Today names Cedar Point as the #1 park in the United States. Listen to this. Cedar Point also claimed the top title for Best Steel Roller Coaster as the blue behemoth Millennium Force rose to the #1 spot from its second-place finish last year. That ride, which was the first coaster in history to climb higher than 300 feet, opened back in 2007. And there's no way I'm writing that one. In other local business news, shareholders approved First Energy's merger with Western Pennsylvania's electric company Allegheny Energy.
First Energy's president, Tony Alexander, said Allegheny was a perfect fit because they share a regional footprint and business model. He says through the merger, he expects to strengthen the balance sheet, increase earnings, and create new opportunities for future growth. That merger is expected to close in the first half of 2011, pending approval of Allegheny shareholders. Based on customers served, the merger creates the nation's largest power company. Larry States, AkronNewsNow.com.
From an expansion to the end of a local auto plant, Cleveland.com reports buckets of tools, forklifts, and ladders are just some of the items up for auction today from the former Chrysler Twinsburg stamping plant. Liquidation company Maynard's Industry purchased the plant earlier this year after the automaker emerged from bankruptcy. The company has sold almost all of the plant's presses, and it's hoped the removal of the remaining items will clear room for multiple new tenants. Well, as we look at our Akron area forecast for today, we have plenty of sunshine, but today's the last day of that for a little while. We'll have a high of 74 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Thursday is where we're going to get a break from sunshine, and we're going to go transition into thunderstorms and rain, high of 72 degrees. But have no fear as we look at our 5-day forecast. We are going to dry up, mostly sunny skies Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Continue to follow AkronNewsNow.com for the latest local news, sports, weather, and traffic updates 24/7. And you can also follow our updates on Facebook and on Twitter, too. For AkronNewsNow.com, I'm Lindsay McCoy.